the classroom with kids, they started to be very curious about what I was eating and what they were eating and why I wasn't eating what they were being served, which was milk and string cheese at recess. And I started to look for a book that I could bring in and we could do a project on it. And what I found was very limited. There was hardly anything out there, and what was out there was like the main characters in it were either a talking animal or a talking vegetable. And I thought that that took away from the children's intelligence and capabilities, and also from the very rich, real emotional lives of animals that was being missed in the storytelling. So I decided to create the books that I wanted to read to the kids.
So the children noticed that you were eating something different.
Well, they wanted to share with me, and they would, share the milk or share the string cheese, and I would say, no, thank you, I brought, my own, and why are you eating that? And so the questions just started to arise.
And that's so interesting, because kids are very inquisitive, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they're going to notice, they're going to pick up straight away if teacher is eating something different.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to ask the questions. And I think sometimes as adults, we kind of don't say anything because we don't want to offend, or we don't want to have an argument, or we just don't want to cause any problems. But kids are like, hey, miss, what are you eating? Why is that different to what I'm eating?
I was definitely scared at first to say anything. It's like a touchy subject, and you don't want parents to get angry, you don't want the principal to get angry. And then I was just like, these are questions just like any other questions that they ask, and I'm in a teaching position. I'm here to teach them, whatever's in the curriculum and whatever else I have to say. And so I just started sharing.
Yeah. When you said that you saw a gap in what was being provided, and you thought, I'm going to have to meet that gap if I want to, create what I want to see. It reminded me very much of Dr. Will Tuttle, the author of The World Peace Diet. He's spoken about, he would talk about the ideas in the World Peace Diet book that he ultimately wrote to his wife for years prior.
Right.
And he said, I hope someday somebody writes a book with these ideas. And after a few years of hearing this, his wife Madeline said, well, I think you're going to have to write that book.
Yeah.
So it's a good message in there that we all have creativity within us, and if the desire is strong enough, we should just get creating, whatever it may be.
Yes, and on that point, something very important that's happening in the United States right now, there's so much activism because everyone's angry about our president, and there's so much going on, and I think it's a very important point to teach kids that when you feel like there's something where we're saying someone needs to do something about this, it's usually you. And so I'm not a huge proponent of all the marching that's going on, even though obviously the causes are all good. But to me, I've never been someone who chases after legislative change. And there's ideas in these books that say we do not have to wait for our presidents to be elected or to be older. We can begin right now. So I see all these kids marching at all the marches with their parents, and my point is, let's also tell them, you want to see change? It starts with you and yourself.
Yeah. So you're the one you've been waiting for.
Exactly.
Be the change you want to see in the world, all of those kind of messages.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So take us back to the kids were asking questions.
Yeah.
You were giving them a little bit of information here and there.
I was giving them a lot of information. I ended up bringing in videos.
Oh, wow.
I showed them some video footage.
Of tell us what? Of animals being slaughtered?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't choose, I didn't bring in Earthlings, but I brought in some short couple-minute videos by some of the organizations.
Like Mercy for Animals and PETA.
One of those, yeah. And I probably would have been blocked had I run it by anybody.
Yeah.
In
So it was kind of like,
administration.
what is it? Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Right, yeah. I just did it, and no, I didn't get in any trouble, and no parents complained. I kept it very short, and but the kids really responded, and we talked about it, and nobody cried, nobody was upset. It was just like, wow, we didn't know that this was happening.
How old were the kids?
I think I shared with the 3rd, 4th, 5th graders.
Which is how old?
That's
different for us in
10,
Australia.
11.
Okay. So they were old enough to understand what they were seeing.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I didn't show the little ones.
Okay.
I didn't want to give them nightmares.
Yeah.
Any comments from the children that stand out to you at the time?
One of my
generically
most
speaking?
favorite, as I was creating the book and kind of bringing in the research and bouncing it off the kids, one fourth grade girl said, "This reminds me of slavery," which she was studying in social studies. And I had not said anything about that, but she was making, the connections herself.
That's incredible, because kids generally speak from the heart. They speak the truth.
Yes.
They don't really hold anything back. And they